Father Taylor here on a very, very pretty and warm Friday, June 7th. And this is your weekly EBlast. So we'll go in chronological order. Coming up tomorrow, lunch in the park. If you have been listening to these videos for a while or you've been around Trinity Church for a while, you know that the second Saturday of every month, we are down at the park right across from the carousel, Bushnell Park. And we do a ministry where we do share the gospel. It's basically a church service right there on the sidewalk. And there is a core of people who are there pretty much every time. We got some folks who come and go. And then we always have some new people. We even have people who are coming to the service, but they walk through the middle of it. And we end up getting around with them. And we actually end up praying for them, whether it's their birthday prayers or whatever. So it's a really interesting time and exciting. And if you've never been, I suggest you come. And why? Because it's one of the ministries of our church. And you get to meet some people. Some of those are deep Christian folks. Some of them are figuring out where they are. Some people there simply because of lunch. You know, there are all kinds of reasons, but everybody gets to hear the gospel. We do communion. It's a great thing. The service kicks off just around 2 o'clock, and I'd say it lasts, I don't know, 20 minutes. So you can come from 2 to 2:30 and hang out. You can help people give away the lunches, variety of things to do at the park. We also have a group of people who come earlier in the day, and they make the lunches that we take down. We make about 40 of them every week. And there is a list to get on. You can talk to Bill Pascucci about that. He will get you signed up and get you on the list. But I really suggest, even if you're going to be a lunch maker, come down to the park, see who you're making the lunches for. And even if you just stand on the side and say a prayer for everybody, yeah, that's part of the ministry. So I invite you to come and join me at the park tomorrow. I'll be down there, Lord willing, a little bit before 2. I hang out, I kind of talk to people, see what's going on with them, and then we do the service. So 2 o'clock Saturday, great time to come down to the park. Then on Sunday, we have great services, blended worship again with our folks who are doing a little more contemporary and the choir. Last week, we had a fantastic anthem done by the choir, very inspiring stuff. There's worship that happens simply by presence. You can be silent and worship. There's worship that happens with words. That's when we get together. That's liturgy. Music plays a part, but you may not think about it, but beauty is a part of worship. Beauty inspires us. When you go out to a beautiful day, like I get to look at, I got 2 windows here, one over there and one over here, a little one over here, maybe 3 windows. But just seeing the trees and the light off the trees, just absolute beauty. Helps me pray, or inspires you to pray. So part of the reason we do music and why those folks spend so much time working on it is for worship and our participation to come before the Lord, but also for the sake of beauty that brings us into the presence of God, reflects the presence of God himself. So anyway, so that we have those services. And after the 9:15, we're beginning just for 4 weeks. We're doing the beginning of a course which is called Experiencing God. It's based on a book that was, I don't know how many copies this book sold, but I'll just say that Henry Blackaby's book called Experiencing God was the textbook that Clark Poff and the folks who at that time were at Valley Baptist Church, that was the textbook for the launch team to prepare them for launching Valley Brook Church back in 1998. It was a very powerful thing. How do we experience it? It's not just how do we pray, but the whole idea that God leads us in our lives. Now, God doesn't have to lead you into planting a church. That's just for a few people get into that. But every day, God is speaking and leading you. And I believe that the general way we handle kind of basic Christian belief is we stress a lot on coming to believe. We try to help people, hey, if they would just believe. Well, believing is just like saying, I bought a house and it's got a front door, but I've never been in it. Believing gets you in the front door, but the experiencing of it is the fullness of it all. And so this little course, I believe, will be very helpful in helping you to reimagine moving from belief or an occasional miraculous prayer to how do we understand how God speaks to us and leads us in our daily lives. I'm telling you, it would fascinate if you follow through with the steps in the book. I guarantee you, your Christian life, therefore your life, will not be the same. So anyway, so that course that kicks off. Manda right now has taken on the responsibility of providing food. It's going to be a little more lunch oriented, she said. But we're still calling it Breakfast Alpha. So that's 9:15 following the service. It is a great thing to invite a friend to. Say, come to church, and we're starting off this class. It's just going to be 4 Sundays, and then we take a break for the summer. But come check it out. And I'm praying that there's one or two of you out there that have been saying, I've often wondered, like, how do you get beyond just like reading the words of the Bible and trying your best to say prayers? How do you move into this deeper interaction, walking with God in daily life? And then you'll come and see. Come and see. So check it out. That's following the 9:15 service, starting this Sunday, running for 4 weeks. Then on the 15th, which is a Saturday, it's going to be basically like the Simsbury Bike Tune-Up Day. Amanda has four, I guess four is the big number today, four bike mechanics, people who work at the bike shops around the area who are coming in. You can bring your bike in. You can bring your kids' bikes in. You can bring your grandkids and their bikes. They'll get them all tuned up, check the brakes, make everything's working, or get them all set up. They're doing some tests on helmets. I believe we're going to have either the community officer or one of the police, the police guys who do the like bike patrol. So we're going to have a whole variety of people. Our goal is to have 50 people come, which means you're going to have to do some inviting. We've got the word out around town, but we're making this like a town event. This is like we want to bless the community, and now the summer's beginning and school's almost out. So on the 15th, that's when we have our bike tune-up day. So maybe you're not riding a bike. Maybe you went out and you got one of these e-bikes, where you can pedal and electric whole thing. Maybe you're a professional biker. I don't know, but come, bring some friends with some bikes. It'll be a great time. So that's on June 15th, Saturday morning. All the details on these things are always in the text, which appears below this video link. On the 22nd, we are having another worship event. This is not a worship retreat, so it's not the 3-hour event being led, but we found a lot of people, 44 people, found that Saturday morning was a great time to come out with this. What we're learning and beginning to experience for the first time for some, and re-experience for folks that have done this in the past, is the closeness of God when we come to worship him. In a smaller group, there's more time and space for you to listen. And then as the Holy Spirit touches your heart, speaks to your heart in some way, you respond. And as you respond, that somehow ministers to the whole group. What we did a few Saturdays ago at that worship retreat was extremely powerful. I mean, there was ministry going. God was touching hearts. People whose faith had grown a little thin were like overwhelmed with the sense of the reality of God's presence among us. So we're doing that. So that's Saturday. That will be at 10 o'clock on the 22nd. So that's coming up. Okay. So those are some events coming up. We have gotten, I forget whether I told you this or not, but we have contracted with a land use attorney, and we're just waiting on the final copy from the surveyor so that can be the lawyer then will enter that. I guess that's called a land deed, and that will go into town. And once that record is done, then the vestry is going to vote on what should we do with this property. This is a question which dates back to 2019. No fewer than 4 realtors. And now we've had some inspections that we didn't pay for. Some other people got inspectors to go through the building. But the consensus has always been that we do not have the money to bring that building, which was built, the deed says 1900. We do not have the finances to make that a viable building. And now it's on the verge of being a liability if we have to make a great repairs. And so we've priced out how much does it cost to remove the whole building. What happens if we don't touch it at all? And what happens, how would we go about selling the property? And so we have a lot of information about this. The first thing we had to do is to get that survey done so that any decisions about the property would not affect the things like the parking lot. And so we've got a little survey that's done, got all the lines redrawn. That's almost ready to be entered. Once that's entered, the vestry will call a meeting and we'll have a final discussion among us because we've been talking about this for a long time. But we'll have a final discussion. And then if we decide that the vestry decides that selling the property is the best way to go, then we will give you 3 weeks notice of a meeting for the whole parish to come in. I'm going to give you all the information in advance. That's why I keep talking about this, keep you up to speed. You can ask questions now as opposed to that meeting, but that's going to be coming up sometime this summer, we strongly believe. Okay, then that just sets up a whole nother set of the process that we go through with the diocese who comes and takes a look at everything. So nothing's going to happen quickly, but this vote is right around the corner, I believe. And the most popular thing that you people are always asking about is, what about the elevator? So, we signed a contract on April 24th. I believe that was the date, or the 26th. But end of April, we signed a contract with a company, and we have placed a down payment for the first third of the estimated cost. And they called this week, and they said that they expect the parts to arrive in July, and that the work to be done in August. So we are still working on that. Some people have said that the possibility of Jesus' return seems more imminent than the repair of the elevator. I'm not sure. Jesus could come back today, which would be the best thing. But I don't know. I'm just drawing a little joke here about how long this elevator thing has gone on. Hey, anyway, so all this is going on at the church. And before I go, I just want to put out a big thank you for everybody who has been involved in the meal train program. If you don't know what that is, sometimes a parishioner or somebody we know goes to the hospital or comes back, they're in rehab, whatever reason, having meals done for them is a great service. We recently had this for a couple of people, and I got a conversation just yesterday with somebody who was ecstatic over, one, the love that they have received while post-operation, the love they've received and the closeness of the community, which they are telling their friends about. And they just were thanking me. So I'm thanking those people who have been involved in organizing and following through with the meal train. It's a great ministry. I don't know. I love to cook, and so if I get the time and the opportunity, it's not that big of a deal to make a dinner for somebody. But just the invitation to do so allows us to minister and to show this care for one another. So God bless you guys that have been doing that for a long time, and God bless you for people who might have been doing that for the first time. All right. It's a longer thing, but I had a lot to talk about. So enjoy your day that the Lord has made. And we look forward to seeing you to come and worship the Lord this week.